This book was so mind-blowing. Power corrupts apps, I don't know. I was just like so engrossed in the story that the ending really caught me off guard. I just love my old lady story. We're almost to the end of the year, which is absolutely insane to me. I feel like 2025 just started, so the fact that we're 2 months away from 2026 is literally crazy. So I know we all have our Goodreads challenges we're trying to finish up this year. So in this video, we're gonna be going over some books that are unputdownable, books that I was just not able to put down once I started. So you'll be able to read them pretty quickly and get that Goodreads challenge under your belt. I would say most of these sit around 400 pages or less, so they're also relatively short, but this video isn't about the page count, it's more so about the bingeability of the book and how gripping that it is. So let's get right into it. But first, if you're new here, hi, my name is Rachel and I enjoy good stories, whether that's books or movies, and I'm doing my best to think well about them. So if that sounds fun to you, then go ahead and subscribe and join our little community. The first book that I want to talk about is Just for the Summer by Abby Jimenez. This is a really fun rom-com, and it was actually the first Abby Jimenez book that I read. The story starts when this guy posts on Reddit and he's basically saying that he has this curse where every single girl that he dates, after they break up, she goes on to find the love of her life. And then one day a nurse named Emma sees this post and messages him because she has the same problem. So she thinks that by dating each other, they'll be able to cancel out their curse. The thing that I really love about Abby Jimenez in general is that, similarly to Emily Henry, she doesn't just have the romance side of the story, she also has an underlying theme. So in this book, she talks a lot about attachment styles and the way that that affects your adult relationships. And I just think that's like a really interesting way to do a romance novel. This one is super fun. It's only like, it's like 430 pages, but I think it's a really quick read because it's really lighthearted and pretty easy to just enjoy and consume in a couple of sittings. I think it took me like 3 days to read. So super fun. And I think this is a really nice lighthearted one to finish out the year with. Next is one of my favorite fantasy books, which is The Cruel Prince by Holly Black. This is a YA fantasy book about a human who lives with her fairy king father in fairyland. So because she's a human and less powerful than the fairies around her, she decides to take her fate into her own hands and join the court as a spy, and there's just a lot of intrigue that happens. This is also kind of a classic enemies to lovers story, so I just really enjoyed that aspect of it. So there's like the political aspect of it, there's the fantasy aspect of it, and then the relationship aspect. One thing that I really love about this book too is it kind of pulls from classical fairy lore in the sense that these fairies are not fun and cool. These are like actually kind of terrifying and pretty evil fairies, which is kind of consistent with the history of fairy tales. So I just really love that Holly Black stays true to that. It's a little bit dark, but I think it'd be a great read for the fall, so perfect timing. Okay, next up we have a thriller. It's called The Heiress by Rachel Hawkins. In this book, 10 years after the passing of a notorious North Carolina woman who gave all her inheritance to her adopted son, and the son wants nothing to do with it, he finally returns to her estate to settle some family affairs, and then secrets about his family and his mother come to life. This story was super duper addictive. It had kind of a Knives Out feel. I loved that it kind of had this neurotic old lady at the center, and then as we're unraveling the consequences of this old lady's actions, we're also seeing the backstory of why she made some of the decisions that she made, and it just kind of, I don't know, it all spins out into this crazy chaotic ending with a rich family at the center and these money obsessed people. So it's just like really fascinating to see how money corrupts. What's the saying that's like something power corrupts, absolute power corrupts, and then ultimate absolute power corrupts I don't know. This book reminded me of that. Lots of money makes people bad. Okay, next up we have another romance. I hope you're okay with a lot of romances being on this list, but there's also a lot of thrillers, so we'll come back to some thrillers later. But this one is Betting on You by Lynn Painter. This is absolutely one of my favorite romance novels ever. I love that it's YA because I personally don't enjoy a lot of steaminess, so I think like the YA version of romance is just a lot more wholesome, and I just love like the wholesome part of romance. So in this book, Bailey and Charlie, who are co-workers at this trampoline park and they also go to the same school, they have a bet to determine whether or not two friends can remain just friends or if there's some romance brewing between them. And then they also start fake dating to throw off Bailey's mom's new boyfriend, and there's just like so many elements going on to it. But I loved that in this book, the main characters felt like fully fleshed out human beings. Sounds like it should be the case for every single book that you read in general, but for some reason I just feel like when you're reading romance novels, it happens to where the main characters are plot devices for the romance. Seems to be a common theme, but I loved that they were like very much their own people, and she did such a good job of making them seem like fully developed human beings that were dealing with their own things in different ways, and then their relationship budding and just the way that they like helped each other and supported each other was really cool. And then I think like the whole last summer before senior year and just last year of high school vibe was so nostalgic and just really fun to read. Next up we have another thriller. I'm kind of like jumping back and forth here, I realized, but it's okay. But this one is called That's Not My Name by Megan Lally. It literally probably took me like a day and a half to read this book because I just could not put it down from the moment I picked it up. This book is about a guy who is trying to prove his innocence in the disappearance of his girlfriend. And then there's an alternate POV of a girl who wakes up on the side of the road, can't remember anything at all. She's taken to the police station only to be picked up by her dad, who she does not remember, taken home to this cabin that is apparently their family home, but she can't remember anything. And we are just discovering what is going on behind both of these stories. I will say I read this one before I had a baby, and I'm not sure if I could stomach it now. It's very fast-paced, very twisty, lots of plot twists, lots to like keep you engaged. And the ending, I maybe could have guessed if I would have put more thought into it, but I was just so enraptured by the story. I didn't even like have time to kind of take a 90-foot view of everything going on to kind of form an opinion of what might happen at the end. I was just like so engrossed in the story that the ending really caught me off guard, and I just love that. I think that's so fun. I've got another sad book on the list, so sorry if that's not what you were hoping for. But Flowers for Algernon by Daniel Keyes is hands down one of the best books that I have ever read. It is fast-paced because it is told from the first person POV of a man who undergoes a procedure to increase his intelligence and basically goes from a 5th grade understanding up into he's outsmarting the scientists who did the procedure on him. It is so beautifully written and so sad, and just gets to the heart of what it means to be human and what gives a person value and why we choose to value certain people over others. A short little book, but well worth your time. Flowers for Algernon. So good. Okay, let's jump back into another fun, rompy thriller. It's kind of a ghost story, kind of a crazy old lady story. I just love my old lady stories. I just love stories about crazy old ladies who have lived crazy old lives. But the next book on the list is The Only One Left by Riley Sager. And this is about a woman who becomes a caretaker for a notorious local legend who was thought to have killed her entire family back in the day, but now she's like 98 and she needs a full-time caretaker. So this woman goes and lives in the house where these murders supposedly took place and is experiencing some spooky stuff. After reading this one, I read all of Riley Sager's work that I could get my hands on, and I just love him so much, and I love the plot twists that he adds into his book. It just feels like a good campy ghost story. So this one, I'm pretty sure you will not be able to physically put down the book once you pick it up because it is that engrossing and that gripping, and yeah, it's super, super good. And I'm gonna finish off with another author that I love, another thriller that I love, which is The Silent Patient by Alex Michaelides. This book was so mind-blowing to me. When I finished The Silent Patient, I literally had to sit and stare at a wall for like 40 minutes because I just could not wrap my head around everything that had just happened. So this is about a criminal psychologist who is obsessed with this case of a woman who shot her husband and then has not said a word since. It's been years, I think like 10 years since that happened, and she still has not said a word. So he goes to the criminal ward and he's trying to work with this patient, trying to get her to talk, and oh my goodness, you guys, it's so crazy. It's so good. And I read well into the night trying to finish this book because I couldn't bear to leave this story. I just needed to know. I just needed to know what happened. Also, as like a kind of side note, The Maidens by Alex Michaelides is also super, super good. And if you're looking for something with a little bit more of a dark academia vibe, I would recommend The Maidens because that's set in Cambridge and there's kind of like a secret society that goes on. So that one is also super good. But this one I just feel like was a little bit more gripping for me personally. So that's why I put it on this list. All right, so there you have it. There are 9 books that I was not able to put down that you will hopefully be able to get through super quickly and finish out that Goodreads challenge strong. I hope you found like 1 or 2 that you're interested in reading. And if you do, let me know. And if you have recommendations, books that you loved that you just had to finish, that you read well into the night to finish, drop those in the comments and maybe I'll get to go read them because I have a few more to go before I finish my Goodreads challenge this year, I will admit. So yeah, give me your recommendations and I'm gonna be doing my best to get through some more this year before the year ends. I'm so happy there's almost 2,000 of you. It's such a blessing. It's such a huge blessing to me to see your comments and hear about what you're reading and what excites you about characters and stories. And it just seriously makes me so happy. So thank you from the bottom of my heart for being along for the ride. Go enjoy some good stories and aspire to think well about them. And I will see you next time. Bye.